Welcome to today's video. In this tutorial, we'll focus on how to solve the fill-in-the-blanks reading questions. We'll be using a passage from the official Cambridge book, along with a set of related questions. Let's dive right into it. First, we'll read the question. These headings, like steam power and textile industry, are guides. They tell you what part of the passage to focus on, so make sure to pay attention to them. It's crucial to understand the information in the questions clearly before proceeding. The questions in this section relevant to steam power. Let's start from the beginning. Newcomen's steam engine was used in mines to remove water. Well, this gives us some context, and it sets the tone for the question to appear. Next, let's read the next part. It is saying that in this engine, the movement of something, which we need to figure out, is linked or connected to a gear system. Now, let's find the answer in the passage. We'll look for key terms like Watt and Bolton and gear system. Read the title of the passage. We'll quickly scan through to search for our key words. Nothing yet in this part of the passage. Remember, a quick scan means moving fast, so we might skip over some words. If that happens, don't panic. Here, in the following paragraph, we spot Newcomen. So, finding key terms from previous questions may lead us to the right direction. Now, let's read a sentence or two. We've identified one of our key names. You can see that forward and backward strokes means the movements in certain directions. And it is of what? It is piston. Since the question says one word only, it matches fine. So, we'll go with piston. Let's move to the next question, and it's still under the steam power section. What's the question really saying? It's telling us that a large amount of something, probably some kind of raw material or fuel, was needed to run these steam engines. Let's move to the passage. This statement says coal was needed for steam transportation. The answer will be coal. All right, let's move on to the next one. Our clue now is textile industry. The question says, before the Industrial Revolution, spinners and weavers worked at home and in. If you're not sure what some words mean, don't panic. We can figure them out as we read the passage. Now let's pick out our key terms, spinners and weavers. These look important, so we'll do a quick scan for them. This part of the passage says, the British textile business was a true cottage industry, with the work performed in small workshops or even homes by individual spinners, weavers, and dyers. Now look at the phrase, small workshops. Our answer has to be one word only, and it should be a noun. Small is just an adjective describing the place. The noun is workshops. Also, the sentence in the question mentions home and something else. So, workshops fits here nicely. Final answer is workshops. Let's move to next one. Not as much was needed to produce cloth once the spinning jenny and power loom were invented. In the next sentence, within the same paragraph, we find the two machines, spinning jenny and power loom. That matches the topic in the question perfectly, so let's read it carefully. The passage says, "With these machines, relatively little labor was required to produce cloth." Now, what does relatively little labor mean? It means a small amount of work, or not much labor was needed. If we look at the question, not as much was needed to produce cloth once the spinning jenny and power loom were invented. Not as much is just another way of saying relatively little, so the two phrases match in meaning. The noun we're looking for here is clearly labor. It fits both grammatically and logically. Final answer: labor. Now let's look at the iron industry section. Here's the question. Smelting of iron ore with coke resulted in material that was better. Let's first understand what's happening here. The sentence tells us that iron ore and coke were combined, and they produced a material. This material was better in some way. So we're looking for a noun that describes how it was better. We've already spotted the section in the passage that matches this. Smelting iron ore with coke produced cheaper and higher quality iron. Now we've got two tempting words here, cheap and quality. Let's try plugging in cheap. Better cheap? That doesn't sound right. Better cheap isn't a natural collocation. It's awkward and ungrammatical. So, cheap is out. What about quality? Better quality. Now, that sounds perfect. It's a common and natural phrase in English. Also, quality is a noun, and that's what the question requires. All right, let's continue in the same section with the next question. We don't need to go far, because the answer is right at the end of the same sentence we just read. The passage says, "The demand for iron increased due to the Napoleonic Wars and the expansion of the railways." Now, let's break that down. The question mentions the growth of something. The passage says expansion, which is a perfect synonym for growth. So that's a good match. Then what's expanding? The railways. So that's exactly what the question is referring to. Demand for iron increased with the growth of the railways. Fits perfectly. One word, noun, and makes total sense. So, there are no questions given from the communications section, so we're going to skip it. This next part of the passage likely discusses urbanization, so let's scan for our keywords. Let's read the relevant part carefully. The new cities were dirty, crowded, and suffered from inadequate sanitation. Now, the question says, the new cities were dirty, crowded, and lacked sufficient. Notice the phrase lacked sufficient in the question? That matches inadequate in the passage's aim, meaning just different wording. And what was inadequate? Sanitation. It's a noun, fits the sentence perfectly, and matches the meaning exactly. So, our final answer is sanitation. Tell us what videos or tutorials you'd like to see for your IELTS preparation in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe and stay connected with IELTS Symphony, your partner in IELTS success.